Hello and welcome to a fixture reaction video. I'm joined by Joe Sansom yet again. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you? I'm a bit buzzing now that the fixtures are out.
Yeah, it's all very real. And of course, Brentford announcing today they were playing West Ham in a friendly made it oh so sweeter. They're trying to join in on the party, but of course they will be getting their fixtures tomorrow for the EFL. But we'll move on. So anyway, Joe, we start at 9 a.m. this morning, or 9:57, as I saw on Twitter, because of a couple of murmurs, a couple of rumours. Is Arsenal at home to kick us off? How are you feeling about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the main aim was to avoid a top six side. Technically, we've still done that from last season. It's a hard game, but to be honest, I was hoping that we'd get someone like City or United just to get a bit of extra time, an extra week, because at the moment we've made no signings. That being said, it doesn't feel as good as a normal fixture list coming out because of the fact that we can't go to games. So I guess you're more looking for, okay, what are the ones in the first half of the season that we'll definitely miss? It's a few good away games in there, but most importantly, I think the start of the season we've got is relatively easy on paper compared to a lot of other teams. So it's one of those where the pressure's instantly on. We've got to get quite a good start against teams that are going to be finishing around us.
Yep, I think that, we saw West Ham's fixtures. They start off with Newcastle at home, and then their next 6 or 7 after that is basically all of the top 6, 7, 8 teams in the division. Look, Arsenal beat us 5-1 last time and beat us 4-1 at the Emirates. They'll be a tough team. They'll obviously want to start the season well. But a new promoted team coming up from the Premier League, a bit of momentum. You just never know with that. I think it is a little bit of a free hit. I don't think fans will be upset if we lose that by 2-0, 3-0. It's one to give a go, and hopefully we can give it a really good go. We move on to Leeds United away. So Leeds' first game back in the Premier League, home game back in the Premier League, is against the gargantuan Fulham. I'm guessing, we were talking about this earlier, I'm guessing the first 2 fixtures are going to be on TV.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, especially the Arsenal game, because I'd looked through some of the other fixtures, and unless they go for a few sort of clashes like, I think there's Palace, Southampton, games that you just sort of think both teams will be mid-table. You've got the Liverpool-Leeds game and you've got our game, which I think are dead certs to be on TV. The Leeds game's a bit annoying because that's twice now that we've had them away, not midweek.
Yeah, we only played them recently.
Yeah, in recent memory, and both times fans can't go, which is a bit annoying. But at the same time, I'm quite relieved that we're playing Leeds' second game rather than first, because there'll be a lot of pressure on that Leeds game, or any games against West Brom and Leeds, the newly promoted sides, and against between Leeds and West Brom as well, because we know that all 3 teams are most likely going to be in a fight, and it's a really early game to get 3 points ahead of them in the table.
Yeah, I think that this is a really important start to the season. I think, like you said, we're not actually playing any of the top 6, top 7 on paper in the league until December the 5th, where we go to Manchester City. So we've got Leeds away, Aston Villa at home, Wolves away, Sheffield United away, Crystal Palace at home, West Ham away, Everton at home, and West Brom at home, and then West Ham away, Everton at home, Leicester away. There's a real chance, and we have to pick up points. Otherwise, we're going to have a really, really difficult Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, last time we were in the Prem in 2018, I remember the first half of the season, we didn't play any of the top 6 bar Arsenal at home. And to be honest, it's looking like pretty much identical until December. And we got most of them in the second half of the season. I think it is an advantage if we get points on the board quicker, because last time, obviously, it all went horribly wrong. But let's say we beat all of those sides that are finishing mid-table and lower, we probably could have had a really good head start. And I think this is a chance to sort of have another go, because, I mean, we'll go on to the run-in a minute, but you don't want to be chasing teams by the time we get to March, April or May.
No, I completely agree. I think that it's better to get points on the board early on and set the tone. And I guess we'll get into those fixtures that are in September, October, November, as they come and as the season draws a bit closer. But in talking about the overall fixture list, we need to talk about the fact that we're playing Manchester City and Liverpool back to back both times this season. That's just how it's panned out. We've got December where we play Manchester City away, Liverpool at home. We play Tottenham away just after Christmas. That game is live on Amazon Prime alongside Brighton at home as well, in case you didn't know that. And then in January, we do play Manchester United at home and Chelsea at home as well. Chelsea, that last game of the 19 before we roll back into the second block of fixtures. What would where would you want to see Fulham lie in the table come Christmas Day?
Come Christmas Day, I just want us to be out of the relegation zone, because I think on paper, and it might all change because you never know, you might have a team like a couple of years ago, how Leicester went on that incredible run after being relegation candidates. Sheffield United last year were favourites to go down. And then if you're actually in the Prem last year, you've probably been looking at Sheffield United as a really difficult game. So I think the first half of the season on paper looks easier than the second, purely because of the teams we've got at home. So I just want us to be out of the relegation zone by Christmas.
Yeah. Moving on to February, really big month for Fulham. We host Leicester, then West Ham. We go away to Everton, and then we host Sheffield United, then go to Selhurst Park. Those are games that we need to pick up points in and need to sort of try and secure our place in the league for next season. I know it's going to be a tough one. I know it might go down to the last day, but this is a key month for us. And then looking into March, we've got a really, on paper, exciting looking fixtures. We go to Anfield, then we host Manchester City, and then we host Leeds United, just the 3 games in March. And then we go into the running. So when we go into the running, Joe, where do you want, obviously we want Fulham to be outside the relegation zone, but realistically, if we were to be in that relegation zone, how many points do you think we'd need in the running that we're going to just quickly talk about? How many points do you think we need to stay up and to secure our place in the Premier League next season?
I mean, you look at the games against Newcastle, Southampton, Burnley, probably as must win.
Yeah.
That's already 9 if we're in the relegation zone by that stage. And then I reckon you probably need another win against one of the other teams, like a shock result against Spurs at home, Chelsea away, someone in there. You just got to, because last time we didn't get a single point against the top 6. And I saw MJG on Twitter this morning was basically saying the top 6 are a bit of a write-off, and any point you get against them is a bonus. And for us, it's the same with Everton and Burnley away. So I guess the idea is win as many games as you can at home, draw as many as you can away, which I think Parker's system will be quite good at, grinding out points. And then any of these extra games, even a point here and there, we just need everything we can before we go into that running.
It's always the cliche, win your home games and try and get a point away from home. Going into April, the run-in, this is the run-in. We've got Aston Villa away. We then host Wolves. We then go to the Emirates. We then host Tottenham Hotspur. Chelsea away, May 1st, away at Stamford Bridge. Hopefully fans are allowed back in the ground. We'll come on to that in a second. Then we play Burnley, as you said. We go to Southampton. And then the penultimate game, we go to Old Trafford. And then again, for the second Premier League campaign in a row, we host Newcastle last day of the season. Let's hope we don't lose 4-0 again.
Oh, I don't have Salomon Rondon this time, so fingers crossed.
Monster class from Rondon. And that ping from Shelby as well. That was a fantastic goal. Joe, there are the fixtures. Where do you expect Fulham to finish? If you had a gun to your head, where would Fulham finish in the season?
17th.
Yeah, I think I'd agree.
Because I will never say that we'll go down, but we are going to be in a fight, and I would just take 17th right now.
Yeah, completely. I'm not going to say anything for granted this season. I'm not going to be naive. I know I spoke about it the other day. There are other things to talk about. Antonee Robinson apparently has signed the contract. There's no announcement from Fulham. There's been no announcement about who's been retained, who's been released from the club. We know that De La Torre's left the club. We know that Cody Dremmer's left the club. But nothing from the club, which is interesting. No kit as well, which is coming out the day before the season, apparently. Your thoughts on Robinson? Class signing.
Yeah, as long as it happens, I'm buzzing. I mean, I've been messaging you about it. I thought he was brilliant in both games we played against Wigan. there was also an interview with Ream, who I don't think he was taking it for advantage that he was actually signing the contract, but he was talking about it as a potential signing and saying that obviously they're teammates for USA and saying that he was a brilliant player. So if it happens, I mean, there's been a lot of talk about the wage. I don't think we can look into it too much. We don't know for sure that this is the case. It could just be paper talk. But either way, as long as we get this one over the line, I think we've got a good, to start the season, backup left back and someone that I think can rotate with Brian and one day become our first choice left back, whether it's this season or in a future season.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe at some point in the season Robinson playing left back and Joe Bryan even moving out to left wing if we need him. Yeah. And I think there was a game last season where he played at left wing and he did a really good job.
It was Villa in the Cup.
It was Villa in the Cup, and we did win the game. And obviously we play Aston Villa quite early on in the season. We played them in the third game of the season, September the 26th, albeit before Sky and the TV intervene. Just to wrap up, there's been a couple more rumours. Callum Wilson, Abdoulaye Doucouré. I'm trying to think off the top of my head because I don't have the list with me.
Bakayoko as well, which I'm not a fan of.
Yeah. I mean, there's nearly every name under the sun's been linked with Fulham so far this summer, and I'm sure we haven't actually made any signings yet. I'm sure there'll be more to come. Of course, we're forgetting Gerard Piqué being linked with Fulham. That was a couple of nights ago. That was quite crazy, and Fulham Twitter took that pretty well. And the Shakira jokes. It was a very, very good value. But Joe, if you could sign, let's say Robinson's done. If you could sign, let's say Harrison Reed is done. We don't know it yet, but let's say it's done. If you could sign 3 more players, who would it be?
PK. I've seen a lot of people saying that it's a bit unrealistic. So if you think it's unrealistic, then fine. In that case, I'll go Congolo, because I'd like him to be next to Hector. I would take Matty Cash. That one's gone a bit dead, but hopefully there's still something there because I think we need a right back. And I'll go for Diangana as the winger that we were linked with, purely because he's the first actually naturally right winger we've been linked with, and we've got a lot of left wingers, and then we've got Knockaert, and I guess you could say Abubakar Kamara at times. So I'd say that those 3 at this moment in time.
Yeah, Grady Diangana, a very good player. Pereira obviously was confirmed as their permanent signing for West Brom a couple of days ago. Before we go, let's talk about the fans, because obviously the fixture list coming out today, there's meant to be a lot of hype, there's meant to be a lot of excitement, but it all feels a little bit flat because obviously we're not allowed in the grounds, or maybe 30%, and obviously with a reduced capacity because of the Riverside stand, it's going to be about 3,000 or 4,000 fans at Craven Cottage. However they sort it, the club, that's fine, that's up to them. But how is it going to feel watching Arsenal at home, Leeds away, and Villa at home? Definitely not going to probably be at the ground.
Yeah, it's going to feel weird. I mean, obviously, safety comes first, and they're in a very difficult position already, even without the Riverside stand being closed, trying to find a way around this. It is a shame because I'm finding it hard to think of these away games even possibilities at the moment, because if it's only 30% capacity, that's not really going to be involving away fans at all. Yeah. So there's even more incentive to hang around until next season in the Premier League. So maybe we can actually go to Spurs' new stadium, which I'm still excited to go to. It's one that I've been wanting to tick off, and we couldn't do last time we were up. I don't want to miss it twice.
Exactly, and we just don't know what's going to happen with the stadium situation. Let's hypothetically say, under the impression that we do get to go back into grounds, home and away, from, let's say, December. What games would you be most looking forward to seeing? I'm definitely looking at that Chelsea away game in May, and of course the Spurs game just after Christmas.
Yeah, I completely agree with both of those. Spurs in particular for me is one purely because I haven't been there before, but I'd be really excited to go to. Slightly disappointed that Sheffield United is so early on, because I haven't been there either. But the main thing for me would be Spurs and Chelsea games. Sorry to repeat you, but those would be
it's the standout, I think.
Yeah, the standout ones.
And I still haven't ticked off the Hawthorns either because of behind closed doors last season. We play them on January the 30th.
Yeah.
That would be a great away to go to. Look, I mean, this is going to be, whatever happens, it's going to be a good season. It's going to be a good time to support Fulham, where we're going to have, hopefully a better run at it, a better go at it this season. Final thoughts, Joe, on just the whole fixture list.
Yeah, I mean, it's just made it a bit more real because obviously with coronavirus and the fact that fans aren't going to be allowed to be in stadiums, there's a lot of talk like, will this season in the Prem even be magical? I heard the Besotted Brentford podcast talking about this season, saying, well, at least we don't have to go up when fans aren't allowed in stadiums. I do think there's times when it could be an advantage. I know Robbie from Arsenal Fan TV was talking about it this morning, saying that for Arsenal, they're thinking it could be an advantage for the Fulham game because newly promoted teams, the fans will be really up for it, probably more up for it than the Arsenal fans, purely because it's the first game after promotion.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that it plays into our hands with calming the nerves for the 6-pointer games, and then eventually, when it's safe to do so, if the fans could be back for the run-in, I mean, that would just be brilliant.
Yeah. You mentioned the Besotted podcast. I thought it was 90 minutes of them just trying to make themselves feel better about the playoff defeat. They were trying to rationalise everything and say, well, this isn't the right time to go up, blah. This was a huge chance for them, and I'm not going to dwell on it too much, but I feel like they were maybe hiding behind a little bit of a mask there.
Yeah, I completely disagree with that argument as well. I've heard this is not just Brentford fans, Fulham fans, loads of different clubs saying, "Oh, it could be the wrong time to go up," because then what is the right time to go up?
We're 165 million better off at the moment.
Yeah, and I understand it's very like out of the three teams, you've got it the hardest because we continue playing for the longest. You've got the shortest turnover period, but the club knew that when we were going into the playoffs, and there was time for them to sort out contracts, to sort out transfers, and hopefully, if and when Robinson does sign, and I'm sure there'll be fans coming back to this video and tweets if he doesn't sign. But if he does, then hopefully that will get the ball rolling, get Reed in, and start to have a good squad by the time they come back in on Monday.
Yeah, I think. Well, is that when the players back in training Monday?
I might have got that completely wrong. It might be the week after, but I think it might be Monday.
Well, it needs to be soon because the season starts on September 12th. I maybe thought we'd get a little bit of leeway from the Premier League because we had the playoff game, but it wasn't the case. Joey, thanks so much for joining me today. Hopefully we'll be back for another video, maybe it's reaction to a transfer or to some club news. We'll just play it by ear. Exciting, very exciting to see Fulham back in the Premier League, back amongst the 20 teams in the league.
You're away for too long, Jack. You're doubling the league.
The 38 fixtures, I was meant to say, that came out this morning at 9 a.m. Keep an eye out for tomorrow, 9 a.m. for the EFL fixtures, if you're a huge EFL fan like us two. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to it all getting started. Arsenal at home is the opening fixture. Joe, so thank you so much for joining. We'll speak soon. Thanks very much for watching. Please like, subscribe. There's plenty more content to come on Fulhamish this season. And yeah, enjoy the Premier League, enjoy the ride. Come on, Fulham.